all for joining us so early in the morning for our symposium, which is a part of our 50th anniversary celebrations. We have a wonderful day in store.
Good morning, everyone. Let us bow our heads in prayer. Father in heaven, we give you thanks. We honor you and we praise you. We recognize you as a sovereign God, ruler and the master of our lives. In you we move and have our being. And so even now we want to thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for taking us here safely. And so we commit today's proceedings into your hand. You were there with the presenters when they were formulating their plans and ideas. And so today we ask that you may strengthen them. You may allow them to be clear, concise, and precise. And so whatsoever knowledge we gain from today, cause us to be empowered to do well in our industry. Bless us individually and collectively. In your name we pray. Amen.
Distinguished panelists, fellow realtors, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being here with us this morning. Very interesting that only 2 minutes ago, our organizers for this function told me that I had a presentation to give. The history of the Realtors Association of Jamaica. Back in 1966, there was, things were a little chaotic in the market. And a group of local real estate professionals got together and decided that they need to get things a little more organized. And that group at the time included one of our well-known names in Jamaica's constitutional development and legal framework. One of them was one of the Rattray family. And there were no existing legislations and governing regulations, and the association thought it fit to create a regulatory framework and bring a level of professionalism to the profession. So they adopted a code of conduct, and the RAJ was formed in 1966. Now, at that time, there was no real estate board. And so the RAJ, and I'm not being contradicted by the general manager of the board, so I'm correct. So the RAJ thought that we needed to have a governing framework for the practice of real estate. That led us into getting the Act of Parliament in '87 and then membership in NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and where we adopted their code of conduct, and that put us in a better framework for professional real estate. Running behind me would be little tidbits over the years, how we have developed and evolved, to today, where our membership has grown from the original 32 members that we had back in almost 50 years ago, to now over 900 members that we have today. The association is strong. We rely on our partners through our association with NAR to put us and position us on the global stage for real estate. And this morning, our presenters will be looking at real estate and its importance to national development, growth, and prosperity. Again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us this morning. And again, I want to especially thank all our presenters this morning. There is one other presenter on his way, and I think we can get things going now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President. really great after a 2-minute notice. Our next speaker will be Tiffany Gordon, Executive JNBS Mortgage Sales. Tiffany Gordon was appointed Executive Mortgage Sales in February 2013. In this capacity, she is responsible to implement the Society's strategic objectives for mortgage sales to ensure achievement of sales targets and compliance with all regulatory and quality standards. Ms. Gordon joined the JNBS team in August 2007 as a senior manager and was assigned to spearhead the restructuring of the mortgage department. In June 2009, she was appointed to lead the mortgage sales unit and in so doing established the 4 JNBS mortgage centers and implemented the concept of a mobile sales team. She received a BSc in Management from Morris Brown College, USA, and an MBA with concentration in Marketing from Clark Atlanta University, USA. Ms. Tiffany Gordon.
Good morning. So happy to be up here again. It's always such a great opportunity when I get to have a little chat and a presentation to my fellow colleagues, the Real Estate Association of Jamaica, who Jamaica National and myself hold so closely to our hearts as we work together for years and years and years. And you show your support to our organization for years and years and years. And hopefully years and years and years and years to come. So I'm really, really happy to be up here again. Dr. the Honourable Minister Harris Chang, Minister with a Portfolio, Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Mr. Edwin Wint, President of the Realtors Association of Jamaica. Dr. Lona Simmons, Harmonization Limited. Mrs. Sandra Watson, Real Estate Board. Mr. Kevin Richards, Kingston Property Limited. Senator Auburn Hill, Corporate Strategies Limited. Other special invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you again. First and foremost, I have to extend my heartiest congratulations to the Real Estate Association of Jamaica on reaching this momentous milestone. This is truly a very momentous occasion for the Realtors Association of Jamaica with your 50th, I would call a Jubilee celebration of events. This is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful milestone which you all should be very proud about. 50 years in this business is not an ordinary and easy feat. And as the only formal body of your ilk in Jamaica, you have worked steadily in tandem with stakeholders to make this real estate investment more than a dream or an elusive ambition. Jamaica National Building Society, as your financial institution, continues to recognize this tremendous importance of the RAJ contribution and the professionalism of your members to empower the mortgage industry, which facilitates the acquisition of real estate and enables more Jamaicans to create their own opportunities for asset and wealth generation. The theme for this symposium, Real Estate 2016, the key to economic growth and prosperity, is very, very relevant at this time. And I'm looking forward to the presentations and panel discussions from our esteemed speakers who are integral to the real estate industry. I will therefore use this opportunity to present a softer and more personal approach to the acquisition of real estate. It will focus on the invaluable opportunities that exist for wealth creation that are oftentimes not really highlighted, especially when it comes to home ownership. Instead, the aspect of wealth is overshadowed by reasons such as, is it a wise investment? This is the best thing. Is it the best thing to do at this juncture in my life? Is it deemed important to own some type of asset? These are questions that we ask each other all the time. While all of these reasons are definitely plausible, it is still imperative for persons to appreciate the overarching possibilities that exist through real estate for an individual perspective, which to maximize and realize their own interpretation of prosperity and wealth generation. Against that background, my topic today is real estate, opening the doors to wealth creation. I assure you that I will not digress from the theme of this symposium. Instead, I will briefly explore the intangible benefits of real estate investment and demonstrate how Jamaica National has been integral in finding a way for JN members to maximize their net worth. It is obvious that real estate, and specifically home ownership, is perhaps the single most important acquisition that a human being will make in their entire lifetime, and possibly the most expensive, which is more than likely the case. As a result, it is an investment that must be very much planned, organized. It has to be structured and calculated, timed, and well-conceived decision-making needs to be happening at that time when they're making that decision. We at Jamaica National, being around for 142 years, we've been making our home ownership dreams a reality for thousands of Jamaicans, including Jamaicans nationally, as well as those Jamaicans residing in the diaspora, who we reach out to and find very, very important for the whole business of finding their home on the rock. Over the past 14 decades, Jamaica National has preached, and we've educated many Jamaicans, locally and overseas, about the basic principles of home ownership. Join a building society, we say. We tell them to save towards purchasing a home. We say select a property you want to purchase. We tell them to apply for a mortgage by coming to our centres or making a call to Jamaica National. And of course, we always reiterate that you need to pay your mortgage on a timely basis. So these are some of the things that we preach on a regular basis to our prospective homeowners. Based on these one-on-one conversations that we're having with our customers, we're constantly guided by their long-term vision, in that they're not only wanting to acquire a share from real estate pot, but they also want to realize and witness the growth of their net worth to their financial benefit, not just their goal of owning a home, but towards their financial benefit and their investment portfolio. Traditionally, I would say buildings and land are two of the most viable investments options in Jamaica. And we all know that they're regarded as more attractive and more concrete, I would say more stable options than even our traditional government bonds at this time and other investment options, particularly for persons with extremely low risk appetite, safer investment. And I'm positive that many persons in this room have either been experienced, witnessed, or heard about the mushrooming of the original purchase prices for properties purchased some decades ago. You've seen it. When compared with your current market value, which has increased tenfold, and even more in some instances. For example, an associate buying a townhouse at $36,000 about 30 years ago. A valuation conducted for last year, for instance, based on the value of the Jamaican dollar, it was valued at $14 million. So $14 million 36 years later, 36 years before, $36,000 investment. Amazing appreciation. It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful investment. That person continues to maximize her net worth. In our Jamaican context, this happens more often than not. And I must again reiterate that it is one of the primary reasons why real estate is deemed by Jamaica National as one of the most rewarding and safest investment options that you can take. This is based on factors including the demand and economic influences, the appreciation in property values realized, which impacts on the equity in the property, as well as an appreciable return on investment, very important, if selling becomes an option. But what if owners are not thinking about selling? Like most major buyers in real estate, loans are used to finance a purchase, and therefore in the case of the property, mortgage loans are the preferred option. I don't know of anyone who really likes to be in debt. I'm not sure if you like to be in debt, I'm sure you don't. I think we all want to be out of debt. But debt isn't a bad word actually, it's not. Based on the intention and purpose for the loan. And I unreservedly say that a mortgage loan, due to its intent and purpose, is classified as a good debt. Many persons are terrified by the daunting figures of monthly payments, and I understand that. But what many persons don't stop to consider, and this should be emphasized to prospective and existing mortgagors, is that equity in the property builds up throughout the process. Very important. The equity in the property is the difference between the market value of the property and the amount still owed on the loan. So there is an invaluable side to this sacrifice that will have to be made for a number of years, but it will eventually take persons closely to fully owning their property. And in the interim, building of equity, which can be used to diversify investments or increase their real estate portfolio. A lot of individuals use equity loans also to utilize for special obligations that they have in the future as well, which is also a very good benefit. Medical reasons, sometimes educational reasons, sometimes these things are used for debt consolidation, reinvestment in real estate. There are a lot of things that you can use for the equity that you get in your home over a period of time. At Jamaica National, we offer this equity loan to mortgages for up to 85% of the value of the property for more than $15 million with a term of 15 years in repayment. This entitlement really allows borrowers to access a loan that is equivalent to the amount built up in their equity. And many of our members use this loan to finance tuition for advanced education, which I mentioned, or emergency health care. However, we also encourage members to use this equity to increase their own wealth. Equity loans can finance the purchase of land and even a second home, which can become the primary home or an upgrade, with the other even becoming an income generator. Therefore, a mortgage loan should not necessarily be seen as a life sentence, although sometimes it's hard not to think about it that way. In reality, increased equity is the gateway to increased investment. Another example is that equity can also exist to finance entrepreneurial dreams, which again should result in greater financial gains. Having a property is a passport to many dreams, and your title becomes a ticket to take you there. As the owner of property, your title becomes an instrumental piece of documentation, which carries great weight and can make loan acquisition less of a hassle. Therefore, when I refer to a loan, I'm speaking about those loans which are considered good debt, ones that are purposeful and will put you in a good stead financially. RAJ members are more knowledgeable in this area, therefore the information is not necessarily new to you. However, my point is that there is more to this type of investment, even for the advantage of homeowners, than is more often emphasized. The value of real estate is not only a tangible form in terms of what is acquired, but there are also accompanying benefits that are not readily seen or understood. Jamaica National is regarded by most persons as a building society for mortgages, and we have built a stable foundation around educating people. Therefore, our work goes beyond mortgages and our consistent focus is to enable more Jamaicans to achieve financial freedom and empowerment, through our products and services to suit their representative needs. And home ownership and real estate are no different. Therefore, homeowners, the key to open doors to a world of independence, stability, and the beginning of prime investment. We endeavour to reach members or prospective ones in the context of educational forums outside of our banking halls, and we consistently partner with key stakeholders over the years to engage persons on the topic of mortgage, real estate, and home ownership investment. In fact, quite recently, we were on a diaspora tour with the West Indies home contractors team, which was wonderful. We made stops in Toronto, we made stops in Canada, we made stops in the United States. In the United States, we went to Connecticut, DC, Maryland, New York, to connect with potential real estate investors. And these are not only investors that are from the diaspora per se, these are also individuals who are American, who wanted to get a place in Jamaica to reside in, or to rent, or to have a second home. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Essentially what happened is that we took Jamaica to overseas instead of the customers coming to us and saying, what do you have? We took it to them and showed them exactly what we had. It was wonderful. And of course, Jamaica National partnered with them, so we were the financial arm giving advice to the customers on how to get the financing done. It was really, really an amazing, amazing experience. Our overseas experience continues to reveal the tremendous desires for Jamaicans and overseas people living abroad to acquire a piece of that rock, and for personal business needs, and they simply want access to the right information because they already have the resources. It's the information that they need most of all. Here in Jamaica, we believe that home ownership is partnership, and to further boost the performance of this industry, stakeholders should work closely with each other to ensure that each party's objectives is realized, and this includes the purchaser. Each of us as lenders, developers, vendors, and realtors make up a bigger picture, and certainly for Jamaica National, this is appreciated. Hence, some of our established programs, such as the Jamaica National Preferred Lender Program, which I'm sure you're familiar with, which works with specific developers to promote developments, and at times, other special rates. At present, we have 27 participating developments underneath our program. To further boost our relationship with industry associates, we also hosted an off-you-go, incentive-driven mortgage referral program for developers and real estate affiliates, and this was just completed in March 31st, I believe. Our third staging ended in March, and I must say the response was tremendous. You're really a very competitive group after all. You are in sales, right? So I'm not surprised. The program, in essence, encourages the target group to refer prospective mortgages to us. This year, you will understand that there are winners here today, sitting here. The first place winner will walk away with an expense-paid trip for two to Paris, France. The second place winner will receive an expense-paid trip to Curacao. And the third place winner will be awarded an advance card valued at $250,000. We would be remiss if we do not say that a valuable portion of Jamaica National's success, given its leading share of the mortgage market, is due to the support of our real estate affiliates and solid partnerships. And being here as a title sponsor is a solid demonstration of our commitment to the growth of the real estate industry. Together, we are creating opportunities for Jamaicans to realize a sense of prosperity and independence through real estate investment. While we all have sales targets to meet, and we are sometimes occupied with meeting those, we should be reminded that our experts in our areas and should use our knowledge to educate about our process. Real estate and home ownership investments are big deals, yes. And when more persons fully realize how it can boost their financial situation, that will make it even more rewarding and impactful. Thank you very much and have a beautiful morning.
Thank you, Tiffany. Jamaica National has played a real important part in the real estate industry, making life much easier for realtors. The RAJ really wants to thank Jamaica National, our exclusive sponsors. JN has been there with us years and years and years. And we hope they will be with us for many more years and years and years. Thank you, Tiffany. Our past president, Colleen Sinclair, will now introduce the minister, our keynote speaker.
Friends from NAR, special invited guests, realtors, friends, good morning. It is indeed my pleasure and a privilege to introduce to you this morning the keynote speaker, the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang. Dr. Chang is currently he operates in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, with special responsibility for water, works, and housing. Dr. Chang is a medical doctor by profession, and he has made tremendous contribution in the health industry years ago when he was a pioneer in the compulsory immunization of young children. He also was instrumental in the institution of clinics in Trelawney, where he worked in 1977 as health officer. He ventured into the political arena in 1976 as a young boy at 27, young man, and he channeled this effort through Young Jamaica, a youth arm of the Jamaica Labour Party, where he became vice president in the same year. In 1980, he was elected member of parliament for Western Hanover. Dr. Chang has served in many leadership capacities in the Jamaica Labour Party over the years, some of which are Chairman of Area Council 4, Deputy General Secretary, Deputy Leader of Area Council 4, and currently General Secretary, where he has been serving since 2011. He is the current elected member of Parliament for Northwest St. James, where he has been MP since 2011. Since 2002, sorry, Dr. Chang. Dr. Chang is actually a reservoir of knowledge in the housing industry, the housing sector. He has been shadow spokesperson for many, many, many years and Minister of Water, Housing, Inner City Development, Water and Environment, and indeed local government. He recently served as minister in 2007 to 2011. He's married to Paulette for over 35 years. He has 2 children, Melissa and Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the Honorable Dr. Horace Chang, our partner in nation building and economic prosperity.
Thank you, Ms. Sinclair. Good morning. Fellow panelists sent here, see have joined us today. Conscious month visitor. President of the Association, Mr. Wins, former president and officers of the Realtors Association, visiting guests from the north, and all the realtors present. Again, good morning, and it's my privilege to join you this morning and make a few remarks on the real estate sector. In fact, I'm honored to be given the opportunity to deliver the keynote address this morning of your 50th anniversary. On behalf of the Prime Minister and the government, I'd like to thank and congratulate members of the association, RAJ, for their sterling contribution to nation building through both your collective and individual efforts. Real estate, in fact, is one of the critical sectors of the economy. In fact, growth in the real estate sector, and more often referred to as housing starts, in one sense, reflects the economic dynamism of a country. But on many occasions, one of the criteria that is used to judge how well the economy is going. Of course, the commercial and industrial sector chips in, but oftentimes the economists refer to the number of housing starts per year to indicate how active the economy is. And indeed, it's a real reflection of what is happening, as home ownership is really one of the major, maybe the most important investment of the individual on a broad scale. The association, which was conceptualized back in 1966, reflect the thinking of the initial professional in this field, or the forward thinking. For those days, members of the profession saw the importance of holding themselves together to a higher standard of conduct and accountability. The time when professionalism was still maybe somewhat absent from the field in many ways. Today, 50 years later, REALTORS Association of Jamaica continues to operate under what I understand is a very austere code of conduct, adhering to the mission of holding the high standards of efficient, ethical, successful, and business practice. This, of course, is important because we have many horror stories of, especially Jamaica and the diaspora, buying swamps back home or sending the money to somebody and finding that where the law did not exist in Jamaica. So the professionalism and code of conduct of those who are involved is critical, and it is, of course, to our credit that we have a group of professionals who have been accepted by the public as adhering to the code of conduct and professional standards that are, of the best anywhere in the world. I know today I have visitors from North America, which is one of the major organizations, and they have continued what we call, in my profession, continuous educational courses within the structure to ensure that your members are up to date with current issues, current legislation, and of course the best ethical practices in the profession. There are individuals, of course, who will be on the side, like every profession. If in medicine, you have people practicing medicine without license who are not trained. And we recognize that you'll have individuals who assume the mantle of a realtor dealer and begin to sell property and do things outside the law, but certainly we take comfort and feel proud of the fact that the professional body operates at a level that we can advertise and feel good about their professional ethics. The real estate sector, of course, incorporates a wide range of individuals, professional area, finance, law, manufacturing, architecture, interior decorating, construction, surveying, sales, property management, to name but a few. And in fact, as a former Prime Minister, I would say, the construction sector, which is a part of it, is one of the few sectors in the economy. Somebody can literally walk to a person, go on a site and say, hey, my name is John Brown, I want the job, and they get it and work. So it takes in pretty much the entire gamut of skills in the country, and among the reasons why it is seen is a driver of the economy. When the real estate sector is moving, when construction is moving, there is a lot of economic activity. The spin-off is far and wide and deep, from the workers on site, as I said, at the lowest level to the highest level of skills that we can find. Of course, it is for this reason that we view the participants and the sector as a critical part of what we require to drive growth in the country. And we'll be taking some steps to stimulate the area and provide the legal framework in which you can operate even more effectively than you are now doing. I am also pleased to note that in the 2015-16 year, there was some increased activity and the market seems to be strengthening. That as the government policy emerged this year, that it will go from strength to strength, and that we have in this room a body of people who will help us make it work. The Real Estate Board, which is one of the critical agencies that operate for government, registered some 68 new developers, providing some 3,187 units and 3,502 lots in the course of last year. In 2015-16, they provided some 77 new applications for new developers with lots in excess of 5 lots, which had some 3,984 lots and 3,294 units. The application for registration of development schemes compare favorably with the number of applications received in the previous financial year, with a small increase of some 5.5%. I'm advised that the Kingston St. Andreas still had the largest number, however St. Catherine had more lots and more solutions than the corporate area, and in fact St. Catherine is a growing area. From the North Coast, there has been significant activity in an area. In fact, we are concerned, and I have a personal concern, because much of the economic growth in the last few years have taken place in the North Coast. But we are far from the center of decision making, and sometimes don't attract the development as quickly as we would like. The result of that in the real estate sector is that maybe the largest contribution to real estate development in the North Coast was squatting. A problem which we have overcome, and informal settlements for those who are visiting and don't understand the term. And that is just a fact of life. The residential community of Montego Bay could be described as largely informal. In fact, the one community, the North community, has over 10,000 solutions, which is about the same size, or a little bigger than the original Greater Portmore, which was considered the largest single housing development in the country, and still is for many years. But by taking some steps, we think in terms of the legal framework we're operating in and the kind of financial architecture we're going to create through the housing trust, we hope to correct some of that problem. And indeed also, the increasing interest by developers in the North Coast, we hope will also provide the solutions, because that's where the sales are for both local and also international. And the two ends of the market, so-called, meet on the North Coast. We need housing for tourism workers, which is large numbers, but we also maybe have the largest block of high-end market in terms of international citizens buying into Jamaica, and places like Sherwood and Round Hill and others are emerging as centers for significant development, for significant investment by foreigners, rich individuals who can buy high-end homes. During the 2014-15 financial year, the real estate board protected deposits of some 1,842 purchasers to the tune of $16.9 billion and an additional sum of $33.5 million US. This, of course, is a major achievement and sends a strong message to the real estate market that we're serious about protecting the purchaser and working with a professional like yourself in ensuring that whether Jamaicans in diaspora or international hand buyers coming to Jamaica, they have professionals of integrity and organization, the strength and institutional characters that they can purchase their property safely and assure that they will get what they're buying, and that the legal framework will ensure they get their property. Bear in mind, Jamaica is one of the few places that protects private property by the Constitution. Not many countries have that. Sometimes we don't take credit for some institution. There's an argument, of course, why we should sell this real estate to foreigners, but whoever that buy real estate in Jamaica have their property protected by a deeply entrenched section of the Constitution. And that, in fact, provides one of the foundation on which we can build a strong real estate market in Jamaica. Certainly when we go international, we're looking for the high end. I think we're large enough to ensure we can attract some very wealthy visitors to Ireland and a little piece of it and share the Jamaica while providing, share the environment which we consider the best in the Caribbean, while providing quality homes for our workers. I must comment at this point, we have heard the voice of your president and the association calling for reduction in the cost of stamp duty and transfer tax. This will, of course, will be done as part of a total tax reform, but we have given a manifesto commitment, and we will keep our commitments. There may be change in form, but no change in substance, because when we are government, you have to look at the total picture. In opposition, we deal with the principles. In government, we are realists. And we have given a commitment to reduce stamp duty and transfer tax, and to be kept. It is part of the need activity. But I call it that generally tax reform is part of the government's move to stimulate the economy. We see ourselves, and this is why we created the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, as facilitators and promoters of investment. The private sector is where the engine of growth must come from. And what we have to do is provide the appropriate framework. Certainly, the reduction in any stamp in transaction tax will help to stimulate the economy. We also look committed to implementing private-public partnerships in the housing sector, where government can leverage its land holdings as part of it, where we can in fact facilitate the financing of development, introduce cost-effective build technology, and promote long-term mortgages, and while not yet fully developed, even look at the feasibility of shared equity. We are particularly committed to private-public partnership because one of the unfortunate part of the history of this country in development, when government is directly involved in building and construction, especially the housing sector, it is without a doubt becomes corrupted and nepotistic and petty and partisan. It's the result of much of our social problems. Not enough was done, so we ended up with squatting. And where it was done, because it was not properly done, homeowners, occupiers in many of the alleged garages had no security of tenure because there was no titles, the scene was not completed. And in terms of construction, we see construction costs ballooning sometimes to unbelievable levels. Costs of housing that were supposed to be low income, and therefore at that time maybe in the $2 billion range. When you examine the details, they're costing $4, $5, $6 billion. And there is very little you can do to find out where all the extra costs went to. And I know many of the Jamaicans here can figure out some of that. And without predicting my own country, I think that my Americans understand public capital expense is often associated with some of this kind of activity, which we cannot afford. There is a famous thing in politics of a very powerful senator from Alaska who was to have built a bridge for about $3 billion, a bridge to nowhere. Became quite well known. The bridge was built without the road. So it is, in principle, government's direct participation in public capital infrastructure development is not the best thing method. We certainly have to lead the way. We certainly have to provide the framework, the planning, and lay out the broad direction that we have to go in, but getting the private sector involved on a competitive basis to ensure there is the best value for money and the best technology is critical. So we in fact intend to reform the housing market, realign the housing institutions to return to the core business and eliminate overlapping in their roles and functions. Some of them, as I said, we will in fact look at totally changing their roles, such as the housing agency, which has not the best of history. What the government needs is to provide the facility and the partners in directing it. The housing trust, as hinted at by the Prime Minister, will be focusing on financing, and in particular for low-income housing. That complete program has been announced, but we have taken some steps in terms of the cost of money to various categories of workers, which I'll say some more on. The Mortgage Bank, on the other hand, has been a very successful organization. Little known about it, but we're looking at them reactivating the secondary mortgage market and focusing on the private sector, public-private partnerships development. It is still a very capable organization, and we may go further in terms of its privatization and involved in the private sector. It's a company that may be able to put on the market and again change both governance structure. But part of our commitment is to ensure that we don't end up with the mistakes of the past, is to try and develop our partnerships as some kind of permanence that will change the governance of the organization. The organization and institutions that remain wholly under government have a sort of political cycle that is too short for the sustainability. We have to find a way as government in the country to deliver the services and the products that we require in infrastructure, housing, water, and roads on a sustainable and rational basis. We can't afford for organizations and institutions like the Water Commission, which is a $30 billion a year company, to have its governance change every 5 years dramatically because of an election cycle. And it can change dramatically even within the same party, because each minister comes with a different view. There has to be some long-term commitment to quality housing, to low-income housing, on a rational basis. And it doesn't mean that somebody get up one morning and feel good and please a constituent and from place to place. It doesn't make sense. Real estate ownership provides financial and emotional stability. It gives people a sense of belonging to a community and to a country, and owning my little piece of the rock is almost a Jamaican ambition that is a part of the fiber of the average Jamaican. Playing field is still far from level. Real estate prices in Jamaica, for the most part, are out of reach of many of the persons, including young professionals. The administration intends to satisfy the need by increasing income among persons who have access to MHD. We have said on many occasions that 60% of our contributors, and Mr. Sambal may speak more to that, hopefully we have the knowledge, of our contributors in holding trusts are not able to acquire a home, and many of it is in organization which was set up for a very useful purpose of the poor subsidizing the wealthy, because those who are contributing at the low end could not access it. We intend to change this. As indicated in our budget presentation, we have started the process. Not only will we be looking at the low end of the market for construction, but many contributors will have the opportunity to apply for an only home with a reduction in interest rate for different categories. It's a repetition of the budget presentation, but it's necessary to keep repeating this so people understand how the contributors themselves. Many will pay no interest at all. Rates will range from 0% for new borrowers earning between $6,200 and $12,000 per week. They'll have access to more funds as the home grant will be increased from $1.2 million to $1.5 million. These, of course, will not impact on your division in a direct way, but once the housing market is active, it affects the entire sector of real estate market. Additionally, new NHG applicants who earn between $7,500 and $30,000 per week will receive their loan at a dramatically reduced interest rate. This is indeed a step in the right direction to stimulate the market, create a dynamic and self-sustaining market, and use the housing trust for what it was designed for from the very beginning. It was designed to create a pool of funds that would be available for housing, bearing in mind that investment in low-income housing is not something that attracts international funding very easily. Over the years, there is a bank of economists and people like myself all the arguments, because there was a standard in the economy about comparative prices, and therefore devaluation was a standard part of economic jargon and practice. You had to keep the value of the dollar and find some nebulous equivalent in what it is, the purchasing power, and the inflation rate has some relationship. But there's a relationship. But this idea of continuous devaluation just didn't make sense to me, and I still can't find a way to make sense. There had to be some relationship between the dollar value of your money and the value of your production. But certainly the kind of dramatic devaluation we went through was nonsensical. And I don't apologize for saying that to any economist. I cannot say it when I've been in public life for a long time, and it has the same formula being used over and over. And I don't think it is wrong when there's a truism that says it's only a madman who do the same thing over and over and expect different results. Right? And we're just doing the same thing over and over. The value of money is critical, but it has to combine with quite a number of other things. I think if you do all the other things and align them efficiently and properly, you will not have the kind of dramatic and continuous devaluation that was happening. You will get growth in the economy, and if you get growth in the economy, increased wealth and increased equity, your money stabilizes, and they even appreciate. And we had faith in all of that. The creation of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is designed to do some of that realignment and ensure that we will have growth, increased wealth, and some stability in the economy. And the real estate price will continue to grow. Jamaica is not getting any bigger. We're an island, and we'll never have more land. We may have more money, we may have more houses, we may have more hotels, but we're not going to get any more land. And in the face of climate change, will in fact get maybe a little bit smaller. Without any deep theoretical analysis, obviously land will get more value. We don't have to keep devaluing and putting more of our working people into poverty in order to increase the value of real estate. It doesn't make sense. I think our country can grow and maintain and develop the value of the real estate by proper economic practices. The Real Estate Board and the Commission of Strata Corporation is your primary administrative body. They operate as a single agency, but due to the fact that they're established on a separate piece of legislation, certain aspects of the operation had to be conducted separately, creating less flexibility and some inefficiencies. We wish to improve its flexibility, ensure its efficiency, have very capable managers, and effectiveness in the discharge of their functions. Plans are therefore in place. In fact, we have gone a far way in approving the legislation to amalgamate the board into a single regulatory authority for the real estate sector. Thank you. I'm hoping that this year too we will, if not pass, bring to Parliament the piece of legislation on Town House and Common Area Land to ensure we can complete what I consider from my, and if I'm wrong with what I've been taught, the suite of legislation required to really provide the legislative framework for a dynamic real estate sector. In fact, oftentimes, well, in this era, of course, by doing this, we can reduce the cost to administer the real estate industry from the government side, and reducing costs and increasing efficiency critical to this government. We can facilitate greater levels of integration between departments, develop streamlined business processes to facilitate development approvals and permits, which in turn will facilitate greater growth in the real estate sector and faster growth, not only through the real estate board, but through the other agencies that relate to approvals. It is certainly unrealistic to expect growth when you take some time, 2 years to approve a development. Increased confidence in the diaspora, of course, I alluded to before, and general any investor in the real estate sector need to know that Jamaica is a place where you can invest your money safely. Right? Increase public awareness of the real estate services available so they don't make the mistake of buying the swamp again. The Real Estate Board, of course, assumes responsibility as a regulator for timeshare vacations, which is a new feature of the sector. It's intended to diversify our tourism offerings, and as part of the responsibility for timeshare, we determine all applications for license, again, ensuring that those who are investing in the sector understand that we have the right legislation and we have a regulatory authority that is credible and professional. Monitor complaints and provide the guidance required for the government. Of course, I understand that the opportunities are rising. The Real Estate Training Institute is being established in association with the Real Estate Board, that to again seek to increase the professionalism in the sector and the credibility of the sector. While understanding that, notwithstanding the government and the real estate professionals, not everyone will be able to own a home, so this administration again will ensure effective, will seek to seek, and I use the word seek, we can redevelop a rental market. I've heard many leaders in the private sector saying we should go to rentals for low-income homes, but not many of them would look at the kind of legal framework we operate. And that's why I spoke on the Real Estate Board and the legal framework operating before, because what has killed rental in Jamaica is not just the cost of real estate, it's just the legal framework operating. First of all, from a government point of view, and I heard Housing Trust brought the picture, we have a very important piece of legislation called the Housing Act, which can be used, if used in a professional, transparent, and important manner to solve some of the low-income problems. It can also be easily abused because it's a very powerful piece of legislation. And that was the basis for some of our problems. It was indeed abused. And when the call came for rental, I think most people in this room never think of it. We have had many calls also calling for the dismantling of garrisons. That garrison was housing estates built by politicians for political supporters. The reality is not so much because of political supporters. The act was used to build houses without completing the legal process. Everybody in these large garrison communities are renting their homes. They never pay the rent anyway. What it really means that, on a practical note, if I give my constituents a house to go and rent for $10,000 a month, if it's a whole block of them, it's very easy to build the kind of garrison mentality because they are not there renting a home that they feel secure in unless they support the enemy. That's the reality. That's what they heard. So just saying rent homes is not really a very responsible statement. We need to look at the framework in which we can develop a rental market, just that you as professionals are looking at the legal framework in which you want to operate to ensure that people respect your profession and have confidence in your profession. And the rental market is a weak area. The Rent Restriction Act coming in vogue did not help either because it kind of pushed the balance strictly in the tenants market, right? So nobody wants to rent anything. And indeed, rent in a real sense today is confined to a very narrow band of housing between Crossroads and Ligonier, if you ask me, because most of those are based on some kind of different legal contract and come outside the Rent Restriction Act. So we intend to review that piece of legislation to see if we can make it more balanced. And we're operating in a market where we have satisfactory financing through the housing trusts and other and reduced transaction taxes. We may be able to restore an active rental market, which is crucial in the development process, especially in the urban centers, because work moves very quickly these days. It's modern society, you move where the job is. And many people don't want to own a home, even skilled professionals until later in life when they feel they're going to settle here, they'll retire here and they find a home. They will do it for investment. And that's why we need a rent act that will accommodate the landlord type of activity. They need a rent act where they can feel comfortable doing, say, to the real estate company, which is part of your job. I'll buy these two properties, you manage them at 9.5, I'll be working in London or I'll be working in Barbados for the next 5 or 10 years, and leave it here with a professionally recognized real estate company, and are comfortable that the place will be managed well, the rent will be collected, the place maintained, and they have a return on their investment. That is the objective of developing the real estate market. I think when we have completed that process, the government will feel that we have provided a satisfactory framework for real estate activity to really expand and grow. Of course, there are stories to speak to the stock market side of things and real estate companies. That too will come into vogue as we look at the tax processes and the tax reform that is coming on the stream. Is an area my members of this audience then I could speak on for the day. And indeed, I won't say. And again, I want to thank you for the opportunity, and I want to commend you for having the symposium. Real estate is indeed one of the signature activities on which a country's economy can be judged. The conduct of the business is also a good indication of the ethics of your professionals. And all of these are areas which you have strong responsibility, but the government has a responsibility to provide a framework for the development of real estate and for its real contribution to growth, job creation, and general improvement in the quality of life and wealth of our people and prosperity in the country. We are seeking to create a legislative framework. We are seeking to create a tax policy that will benefit and work with the association to ensure, in fact, we achieve these goals. It is therefore my pleasure this morning to declare the symposium open, to wish you a very successful day, and to wish you continued growth in the sector. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation was envisioned to ensure that investments are rapidly facilitated, including real estate. Obstacles and duplication are avoided. Projects are brought to fruition in the shortest possible time and completed will provide the support necessary to assist this sector. Any hurdles you envisage and impairments you envisage, feel free to call the ministry. We are open and available at all times. And if you have new ideas and new suggestions for policy direction, we are willing to listen. We are not yielding or giving our responsibility to the government and policy. We have that responsibility, we accept it, and we are making changes. But we don't see ourselves as the reservoir of all knowledge. That's one thing that does not characterize the Andrew Willis administration. We are willing to listen. And we know that we have to make significant changes in policy direction to achieve both levels that we want. The econometrics, and I am concluding this note, indicates that the current policy framework in which Jamaica operates cannot achieve on a sustainable level more than 2 or 2.5%. Am I right to say? That's the current framework. So those who speak of 5 and 10% or 4% and growth outside of this framework with the same policy framework and talking pure politics. So what we're saying to you, we are not going to design the ministry, but we're going to have to bring on stream new policy objectives. Initially, the tax reform was a signal of that. There are other things changing, but that was maybe a strong public signal as you move from direct taxation to indirect taxation. I don't think many people have appreciated the former fundamental shift that it was, because the 1.5 caught the eye, and that was a political thing, and it's good, but it's interesting that for the first time in history I saw a tax policy become a political catchphrase. But at the fundamental, it was a shift, a fundamental shift in the tax policy, and that the reform process will continue and create a framework of tax that will encourage investment and rewards production, because we have no embarrassment about people earning money as long as